Go for it. Done.
Wonderful. Well, welcome everyone. It's nice to see lots of people on the call. So for those that don't know me, my name is Vanessa, and I'm here with the lovely Sonia. So we'll introduce ourselves and give you a little bit of background to us and to our skill sets and why this is really important. It's an important topic that we love talking about and sharing. And I'll also give a few notes about some of my experiences with the Vitality Pack as well. Please do put any questions that you have, just drop them in the chat facility and we will go through them at the end. Don't wait, if you're anything like me, you'll forget by the time you get to the end. So don't wait to the end, put your questions down and we will make sure we go through them. Last time there was a lot of questions, so very happy to try and go through them. So I'll introduce myself. So my name is Vanessa, and if you don't know a little bit about my background, I have studied nutrition. I'm a GAPS practitioner, which is healing anything brain related through the gut. So things like autism, ADHD, ASD, anything.
Sorry,
anything
Vanessa.
Yes.
There's a little bit of lag. I think it's on your end. So if you just slow down slightly.
Okay.
Then
that's
I think
me. I do talk fast. I'm sorry.
Well, no, it's not. It's not you actually. It is the computer. It is lagging a little bit. But if you slow down, I think maybe that will help it. So
just do a signal like this if we're going too fast, or you know.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's really hard to read your chat. So if there is, just let me know. Okay, sure. I will try and slow down. So I hope you heard that. I am a GAPS practitioner. I'm also studying naturopathic nutrition at CNM. I've done NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, hypnotherapy. I also do tapping, EFT, which is dealing with emotional states using tapping, and I teach oils. So anything health orientated, really, you're probably catching on to this. And I'm going to introduce the lovely Sonia. She has a wealth of experience that she can also share as well.
Mm-hmm. Hi, everybody. Well, I don't have a wealth of experience. I just have a wealth of passion because I absolutely adore everything to do with alternative medicine. I am a nutritionist. I'm a naturopathic nutritionist. I'm a naturopath. I'm finishing my studies in herbal medicine, and I also do a lot of bioresonance and kind of other modalities in alternative medicine. I adore the oils, I have to say, just because of everything that they can do. But one of the things that we wanted to share with you tonight is, apart from the oils, the Lifelong Vitality Pack. Because as nutritionists, we can appreciate, well, we will start slowly and we'll start explaining why this Lifelong Vitality Pack is going to be so important for you and your clients, and for anyone.
Yeah, and we've had some great experiences. It's worth saying. Before, you know, we've had some incredible experiences from anything from literally people coming off antidepressants with their doctors using the Vitality Pack, chronic hives, autoimmune conditions, chronic fatigue. There's a whole, you know, plethora of unwell people that have got really well with the Vitality Pack. So, you know, it's really, and we're going to talk to you a little bit about why that is. Okay, so one of the things that I hope is really important is the fact that we don't see anything as the panacea. The oils are amazing, the supplements are amazing, but it's really important to make note that you have to have all the other elements within a healthy lifestyle. And I'm not sure that that's perhaps, probably if you're a wellness advocate, it's probably quite apparent to you, but perhaps to the average person, they think they're eating very healthily and perhaps they need a little bit of support because what's become healthy has perhaps changed. And also we need to really be aware of stress. because stress is actually one of the biggest problems that we suffer from today. So what we can do is try and use the oils, but also the supplements to help support us, but we also have to take other steps as well. Because stress has an important factor on how we utilize all these multivitamins and minerals. So we really have to be very careful about trying to look at it in a very proactive but step by step and sort of full holistic approach to health. This is it sounds like a big statement, but it really is true. And you're going to have to bear with us because a lot of these figures are from America. And if we could change these slides, we would, but they're uneditable. But so we're going to talk about some of the UK figures. So it's quite amazing that actually 95% of people in the UK are vitamin D deficient. Probably doesn't surprise you. And in this weather, I hope you're getting out and getting some, because actually natural vitamin D is one of the best things we can get. But obviously half the year, we don't see any sunlight. So it's really, really important that we supplement with vitamin D. Things like vitamin E is a really powerful antioxidant to the body, and 9 out of 10 of us don't have enough vitamin E. Things like magnesium. I mean, magnesium has the power over 200 enzyme functions within the body. It's such an important part of our health. It's heavily depleted now in our soils. In fact, they've seen drops since the 1950s, down to about an 80% reduction in magnesium in our soil. So we know we're not getting it in the food. Then you add that to that sort of factors like stress, which heavily depletes on our magnesium as well as our vitamin C levels. And then you have very, very deficient people who are very deficient on magnesium. And we have all of these biochemical reactions that really rely on magnesium and calcium and vitamin A, as well as our B vitamins as well. So you might say, like me, I used to say, I eat a really healthy diet. Well, the fact is, and it sounds a little bit depressing, but it's not. We can do so much now. Even if you eat a pure organic, I do, I try to as much as I can. You eat organic diet, you eat fully, mostly vegetables, maybe a bit of, some protein in there. It's really difficult. Like I said, our soils are heavily depleted, and we can kind of map this with the use of chemicals on our crops. And sadly, that also has an effect even on our organic fields as well. So even in our purely organic soils, we're not seeing the levels, because you're probably aware of this now, but Monsanto fields are now drifting over onto organic fields. So there is a place for supplemental care. I personally took the Vitality Pack, and I didn't really have anything wrong with me, but I don't recommend anything unless I've tried it, and my energy went through the roof. So I knew it was working for me.
Yeah. I think the Vitality Pack is amazing. I've had such great results with probably almost everybody that I have put on it, and everybody that takes it, in fact, because some people pretend, but they're not actually taking it. But really, as Vanessa was saying, our food has been bred. If you look on the slide there, those apples they look really ugly, but they actually have 100 times more phytonutrients than the apples that you see in the supermarket. We have unfortunately we have got used to eating very sweet, and our food was much more bitter many years ago. And unfortunately, this sweet thing has kind of taken out a lot of has created a situation that takes a lot of the micronutrients out of our food, because the micronutrients just don't taste as good. So slowly, they're kind of they're just unwittingly bred out of the food. And many of us don't actually even know what it's like to feel good. Next slide, Vanessa. you know, you have a lack of energy, you get tired, irritable, you get colds very often, then you get kind of aches and pains when you exercise, your skin, your hair, you know, your nails get little white spots if you're lacking in zinc. And all these things go to kind of show you, it's your body's way of saying, there's something wrong, you need to put something back in.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm. So basically this slide is just saying, who needs a multivitamin? Basically everybody, because there is not enough, there are not enough nutrients in our food, unfortunately. And there have been a huge amount of studies that say, you know, that fruit and vegetables just do not have enough of the micronutrients we need to combat the stress in our daily lives.
So I think one of the really important things to talk about is which multivitamin, because I think most people are confused, and there's a lot of people, and actually the studies are now showing that a lot of people are taking multivitamins. In fact, it's quite a large percentage of the population, so something like 40% of people in the UK are now taking a multivitamin. But where we're starting, where most people are starting with, are they're going to Boots, or they're going to Tesco's. And what they're not realizing is that they're synthetic. That they are trying to recreate nature with pharmaceutical drugs. And you've probably heard the term expensive we. Well, this is why. Because unfortunately, when you're taking in synthetic multivitamins, our bodies can't read them. They can't utilize them properly. So they have this ability just to flush straight out without actually doing any of the job that we want them to do. So actually this brings me to this slide. So this is kind of where and it's a starting point. It's where most people start, is where, you know, I kind of heard about certain nutrients and you think, oh, you know, I've heard about magnesium, I should go buy it, I should go get it in the chemist. But unfortunately, as I said, most of them they're in synthetic, and a lot of the and binders and cheap fillers to bulk them out. So you're going to find that they are poor quality, and they're also going to be based on the recommended daily amounts. Now, the recommended daily amounts were kind of like a starting block. They were, correct me if I'm wrong, Sonia, but I think they were done in the 50s, right?
Yes, 43 or in the 40s after the war.
Right. So, and they haven't revisited them, and they were really a starting block of where we should kind of look to get nutrition, but they're not our optimal amounts. They're not really what we need, and they're certainly not what we need today, because most people have got some form of inflammation or disease going on within the body, so they're not providing the nutrition that we need to kind of give us optimum health. So then you get this other version that's kind of on the market now, and you'll see these really high dose multivitamins, and they're really expensive, some of them. But what they're looking at is kind of just flooding your body with vitamins and minerals. And like anything, more isn't necessarily better. So actually, you know, you can get into a state of toxicity because your body doesn't know what to do with all these vitamins and minerals. You need to make sure you're getting it in the perfect amounts, and that's really, really important. And the other thing to factor is that nothing works in isolation. So I'm using the example of magnesium because it's a really good example, because most people know that they need magnesium, but they don't realize that they work in synergy with everything else. So you need to have calcium and vitamin D levels right, and everything works in this amazing balance within the body. So nothing works in isolation. So it's really paramount that you kind of get everything connected and working in proper amounts. So this is a really great slide, because this is what we're saying here, is that when you start taking a multivitamin, you kind of get this this curve up, and you start feeling a little bit better, and then you get this sort of plateau where it's the best. But obviously, if you start taking too much, you're going to get side effects and toxicity. So it's really, really, really important to get your daily amount right.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. It's like, you know, we're saying a lot of the companies, the supplement companies, are in competition with one another. So that's why they're pumping in more and more nutrients, or more and more of the of different vitamins and minerals, and actually possibly not really checking, and not checking what type of person is actually taking those, because we're all individual and we all have different reactions to different amounts and different quantities. So basically, there has been research, as Vanessa's been saying, to say that they've showed that for many vitamins there are side effects when you take too much of them. Really, ideally, as we see on this slide, we should really be in this happy medium place that actually doTERRA has researched with the Lifelong Vitality Pack, and it's quite a difficult balance to achieve. Scientists and stuff, and really at the end of the day, we don't actually want to spend hundreds of years on doing clinical studies and still not be sure. So really, we had to ask ourselves, is there a better way to find the best intake of micronutrients that we could get? And really what happened in the end was doTERRA turned back to nature. And they really, as they say, nature has never been proven wrong. And it's true, because everything is balanced. The dosages, when you take an apple, or when you have vegetables, the dosages, it's almost like they're intelligent. When you take things in and you don't need them, your body excretes them. But if you do need them, like if you need a certain amount of zinc, or if, as Vanessa's saying, you're under stress and you need more magnesium, your body will absorb the magnesium in the fruit or the vegetable. So what doTERRA in the end said or found was that our diets change, but then genetically we need to just take account of how our genes are. And yes, exactly what doTERRA did studies on was to say exactly what levels of micronutrients do we need for us to be able to have a healthy, balanced diet. Next slide, Vanessa.
Okay. Is that me?
Yeah.
I think so. So this is a really important slide, because our genes haven't really changed in millions of years, but actually our diets have changed phenomenally. I'm sure I'm talking to the converted with lots of people listening, but if you go into a supermarket now, 80% of what is in that shelf wasn't there 100 years ago. So, in the last 100 years, we're now eating food, well, that I would say a lot of it isn't even really food. It's kind of recreated stuff to kind of sit on a shelf life. And we've also got to look at industrialization. So industrialization was about feeding the masses. It wasn't necessarily about getting the nutritionally dense food in. So that's when it came, we came to sort of harvest crops and of wheat, and we started producing more bread and rice and all these kind of crops. So actually, you can start to see how 99.99% of the population, the time that we've been eating for the ground, now things have changed astronomically, and our genes are just not designed to cope with the diet that we've got today. And so you're kind of looking at these nutrient intakes, and what we need to base supplements on are kind of pre-agricultural periods. So that's what this slide is showing you, is that actually the most natural diet, you probably hear about this because actually the ancestral diet it's kind of flagged about a lot, and it's kind of something I based my diet on, because I know it's the most therapeutic diet that we can do. It's kind of looking at, how did we eat years ago before kind of all the diseases that happen today. And if we eat that way, actually we can kind of mitigate some of the toxicity in our environment. And if we supplement with supplements that are designed in this kind of ancestral way of eating, we can give ourselves optimum nutrition. So this is what this study is showing, and actually it says patent pending, but it's actually been it's now patented now. So this is an incredible formulation, and what doTERRA did is they looked at some of the studies of Paleolithic ancestral ways of eating, and there's an awful lot of studies, and even there's even ancestral sort of Paleolithic communities, not many of them, but there's a Hasdor population still that's being studied quite a lot. So there are some very small tribes that are living without the diseases of today, and if you study those, it brings you very close to the sort of perfect optimum diet for health. So this is where doTERRA based it on, and that obviously just makes common sense to a lot of us. Handing back to Sonia.
Yeah, basically, we are you? I'm.
That's all right. So what we were saying was, I probably jumped on here. No. So version 3 is doTERRA's supplements, and
yes.
This is just rounding up what I was saying. It's basically that it's optimum levels and safe levels, and that's really important. And we're going to come on to some slides, but just sort of reiterating what we were saying is that you can get into toxic amounts, but if you based it, just like Sonia was saying earlier, perfectly, if you base it on food-based forms, you don't get this toxicity. You know, when we're getting things like vitamin D, even from food, you can't get toxic amounts in the body. But if you're taking fat-soluble vitamins, which are going to be stored in your fat, you can create toxic amounts if you're taking them in sort of synthetic multivitamins. When you get them from food, your body knows what to do with it.
Yeah, and I think that this is a real game changer for the whole multivitamin industry, because it's like, as doTERRA has got this new proprietary formula, I don't think a lot of people have cottoned on to it, a lot of the other companies, and so it's you know, it's kind of setting us above and giving us a new way of of delivering supplements and micronutrients to a body in a natural way. So I think it's amazing, you know, and that we can actually be, you know, that we can be without having had to, you know, to research for 15 years, we can actually, they've actually found a nice happy medium that the body can absorb that is not going to be toxic. And at the end of the day, that's what you really want for everybody. So, yeah, Vanessa, well, these were just the optimum intakes of what was thought to be the best version of a multivitamin. And then if we go to the next one, these were the RDAs and versus the optimum intakes. And as you can see, the only one that is in there is folate and magnesium and manganese, right, Vanessa? Is there anything to add? No.
I mean, I agree. So it's a foundational point that it's a kind of starting point, isn't it? But it's not a therapeutic amount, and it's not an optimum health amount.
And then this slide says, you know, what you get from the average diet in the US. And again, as you can see, they're still not hitting the ideal. Yeah. And
it's not much different in the UK either. There are a few things shift around, but it's not much different. And so this is where a common multivitamin might place you. So you can start to see how things just shift massively over the optimum amounts, and some things are still depleted. So things like, you know, your fish oils, which we're going to come on to, are really important to get right. But obviously then none of those are really reached in multivitamins, because most of multivitamins don't come with a fish oil in them. And you're still going to be low in your vitamin D, which we know is in pretty much factored in all diseases. When you've got when you've got a disease in the body, vitamin D is one of the first things that we want you to be checking. B12, I mean, B12 is such an important thing for your neurological health. So there's so many things here that if we don't get, you know, if they're deficient, and we're literally edging on, you know, below optimum sort of deficient amounts, or we've got things in toxic amounts on the other end. So you don't want too much iron in the body. That's really important.
Yeah. If you have too much iron, you can have stomach pains.
Really important.
Yeah. You can have nausea with too much iron. There's lots of things that, you know, and too much iron accumulates in the internal organs and in your liver, and it's really, really bad. It's horrific. You can actually get really sick from too much iron in the brain and too much iron in the liver. So it's quite scary when you see that it's over the limit there.
Absolutely.
You know, because people are taking these every day.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you're looking at these high-end multivitamins, you know, these mega doses, which actually the majority of us don't need. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. And some of them are okay. So like vitamin C wouldn't be a major breach that, but a lot of these, you know, they're going to get stored in the body and create toxicity, so and create all sorts of problems, just like we were alluding to. So, you know, we really don't want to have these ridiculously high levels, especially with things like, especially with fat soluble vitamins, because they are going to get stored in your fat and be toxic. And so you're looking at vitamin E here. I mean, look at the levels of vitamin E. It's just it's crazy.
I mean, too much vitamin E can give you a possible stroke. You can get cramps. You can get blurry vision. It's even been linked to prostate cancer. So it's quite serious to have such high levels. You know, what's quite scary is people don't realize, and they think they're taking a multivitamin and they think they're doing themselves good. And they don't realize that some of the symptoms they're feeling, like, you know, not being hungry or blurry vision, they are actually going to the doctor, you know, who might actually give them something else, and it's actually their multivitamin that's causing the problem. So
yeah,
quite, yeah.
It's common, isn't it?
Yes.
So this is the nutrient pack. Now we're going to come on to the vitality pack. I personally like the vitality pack, but for some people, you know, the nutrient pack might be where you want to stay. But one of the things about the nutrient pack, so this is what they've done. They've created what they call the glycoprotein matrix. Now, this is very clever, as I'm a passionate fermenter, so this kind of rocks my boat. What they've done is actually use like a yeast protein to ferment the food, and the yeast gets destroyed in the process, but it means that we can use food formed multivitamins that are bioavailable to the body, that are completely natural, that our body knows how to read. But obviously, when you've got them in a vitamin and you're storing them, you need to make sure that they are not going rancid. So, you know, this is what they're doing. They're using a sort of fermentation process, and it's a patented formula to keep all the nutrition. So if you've ever looked at the bottle, you'll see some crazy things on there, like kale and Brussels sprouts and cabbage, and probably lots of things that we should all be taking on a daily basis, but sometimes it's quite hard actually to get into your diet every single day. And you've got them in food form that our body knows how to read, but in this incredible fermented process.
So then we go back and we say, okay, so the average diets are you know, you're supplementing with the daily nutrient pack. You see, it just it brings it right into equilibrium. And you have all the micronutrients, and you're well within the optimum zone, and you're restoring the natural balance of the body. And that's all you could ask for your daily nutrient pack, really. There's nothing too high, nothing too low, just the actual natural balanced optimum amount of everything. So really, it's one of the first times that you can actually have a product that's giving you each vitamin, each mineral, each trace element, phytonutrients, omegas, in you know, nothing too little and nothing too much. So you're getting the right types and the right amounts that your body is actually genetically programmed for. Sorry, go on. Go on.
No. I was just going to say, and it's so important, isn't it? Because otherwise your body can't detox. If your body is just deficient in even, you know, the odd vitamin and very small mineral that sometimes it's hard to get, your body can't do the detoxification process that it was designed to do. So it's all very well people saying, oh yeah, your liver can detox anything, but it only can when it has everything reflected in the right amounts.
Yeah. And people often talk, we're very, very familiar with eating the right amount of protein, eating the right amount of carbs, eating the right amount of macronutrients, but nobody talks about the micronutrients, and they're just as important to have in the right balance. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think I was doing this bit, but I can't remember. So let's talk about the multivitamins. I think these are amazing. So you've got all the ones that we've talked about, but you've also got some really important things. So like I was alluding to earlier, so you've got things like kale, broccoli sprouts, you have got Brussels sprouts, you've got cabbage, you've got spinach, loads and loads of greens. And how many people, I'm not saying this, you should eat a whole food diet, but there are a lot of people who don't eat enough greens because they don't particularly love them. I personally like them. But you've got these in this food-based form. The other thing that they've got, actually, that you've got in the new ones, and I'm correct me if I'm wrong, someone might know differently, but I'm pretty sure we didn't have enzymes in the old version. But we now have, actually it's not on here, so I'm pretty sure. So we now have enzymes in them. Now enzymes are really, really important because they help us break down our food. They're our digestion process, and they're pretty much key for all our biochemical reactions within the body. So, and a lot of us are now lacking enzymes. And why are we lacking enzymes? That's because they're there in our raw food. So if we cook the food, we don't have the same enzymes in the food. And then a lot of our food is now, even vegetables are taken when they're not ripe. They're cut too early so that they can be brought to supermarkets to ripen and be ready on the shelf. So that's why we don't have the enzymes in our food that we should have. So that's why we often need to supplement with enzymes. And things like, and it's got some amazing things in there like lipase, which help, and lactase, which helps break down lactose in milk, which is why a lot of people struggle with things like milk. So, got some really key enzymes in here that are really important to the body. And then lastly is the tummy tamer. So I also think, this is awesome because we now know that all disease begins in the gut. So if we can support our gut health and give our gut the chance to kind of repair the damage of the onslaught of, toxins and food that doesn't agree with us in a tummy tamer form, it means that we can start to heal all our body processes. So these are, really, really important food-based formed supplements. Gluten-free, dairy-free, and no genetically modified food in there. Really, really important. Omega-3s. Now, most of us have heard that we need omega-3s. I might be teaching to converted. I'll just go through it briefly. The reason that a lot of us are deficient in omega-3s is because we kind of get this imbalance between omega-3s and omega-6s. Omega-6s are in natural form. We should be getting them from nuts and seeds, but we have them in bountiful amounts in processed oils and processed foods, and that kicks our omega-3s out of balance. So if we supplement with a little bit of omega-3s, and Sonia's going to talk to you a little bit more about why that's so important, then we can start to readdress the imbalance between omega-3s and omega-6s. So there is a vegan version that's back. So if you are a vegan, it's done with marine-based, so done with I think it's done with sea kelp and various other sea plants. But if you're not, it's a really good idea to use these omega-3s. It's worth saying that if you're buying cheap fish oils, bear in mind they're a fat, so they're going to go rancid very, very, very quickly if they don't have the right ingredients in there. So doTERRA has astaxanthin, which is an antioxidant, which actually helps preserve the fish oils from going rancid. So that means that we're getting really, really good grade omega-3s. And then you've also got the oils in there. So you've got a lot of the anti-inflammatory oils that we know are going to help support us in really small amounts. So things like frankincense, you've got wild orange in there, you've got peppermint, ginger, very, very amazing anti-inflammatory oils that are also going to help preserve the fish oils, but are also going to support toning down inflammation in the body.
So this slide is basically telling us, well, we know that EPA and DHA are the most beneficial of the omega-3 fatty acids, and as you can see here, they've got different as well as shared benefits. So recent research has discovered that there are many new benefits for DHA. So doTERRA decided, or with their research, has decided to put equal amounts of each. So before it was, they had very often you will see different ratios, but actually what they're trying to do is EPA and DHA, they're trying to improve the omega 3 to 6 ratio, which is really very, very important. And the omega have got 300 milligrams of each, and that's really 6 times more EPA and DHA that we get from our diet today, and it's basically enough to bring that intake back into that graph that you saw, and within the optimum range for our health. These are all the list of things that that EPA and DHA in a balanced form will help. One of the important and very interesting things is that it also helps mood and your and mental faculties. It's fantastic for memory, but all kinds. If people have all kinds of depression, mental disorders, having a balanced EPA and DHA will actually bring great benefits. It's also fantastic for your eye health, and very, very important, as we know, in pregnancy, because it's important for the development of the fetus, and also when you're breastfeeding, it's important and also for children when they're growing, for bone health. So doTERRA they've used top quality oils. They are the first to use calamari, which has a much higher amount of DHA. It's very interesting to know that a deficiency in DHA is and in omega-3 is one of the top 10 causes of death. So it's kind of fish oils are really, really important. They've tested them for over 250 different contaminants, and they are, they're important because calamari is actually very low on the food chain, and it's actually very sustainable, and so it's fantastic. Even if you have a shellfish allergy, you'll probably be fine with calamari oil, because it's actually not even it's not really shellfish. That's all. Next, Vanessa.
Yeah, and then we're also testing to make sure there's no lead and mercury in the fish as well, because I know that's a big concern for a lot of people, is you hear about the toxicity in fish. So there is no, there's no lead and mercury in there either. So that's what's in the daily nutrient pack, is the fish oils and the microplex, and then that's going to bring us on to the health benefit.
Yeah, the health benefits, as you can imagine, are amazing, because when you eat well and you've got balanced intake of micronutrients and all your vitamins and minerals, you're going to feel fantastic. You're going to have protection, so you're not going to get sick. Your DNA is also going to be protected. So basically, as it photocopies, there are no kind of, there are less possibilities that you're going to have some weakness in your, some genetic disorder. It's going to improve your stress levels, or it's going to improve your reaction to your stress. It's fabulous for heart health. Great for your hair, your skin, your nails. Great for your brain. Some people, a lot of people suffer from pollution, or ill effects of pollution, and it's actually fantastic for that. It keeps you well, so that even your lungs will be stronger, so that you won't kind of succumb to anything if there's coughs and colds going around. Most of all, the two main things that I think are really good is it keeps your digestion functioning optimally. which allows you to absorb your food well. And also, you know, part of your immune system is in your gut. A huge part of your immune system is in your gut. So it helps that. And it also helps your liver to detoxify. Now, if your liver is clogged and is not detoxifying, you are not going to be functioning optimally. And also your hormones are going to get backlogged. You're just going to be sluggish in every single way, because your liver is just a huge organ that is the thing that keeps everything flowing smoothly in your whole body. So really, the health benefits are huge for having a balanced support of nutrients. Really, that was a very long-winded way of saying that.
So lastly, it's just about making it a habit. I personally have it with my breakfast. Actually, sometimes my daughter reminds me, but I have them in a place in my house where I'm going to remember to take them with meals. And that's really important, actually. You should take them with food. You are going to find, if you don't take them with food, you're going to know about it, because things like the fish oils are going to repeat on you. Because actually, that a lot of these fat-soluble vitamins really need to be taken with food to digest properly. So make sure you take them with meals. But really important to just make it a habit for everybody. Give them to, you know, teenagers, men, women, elderly, pregnant women, everyone in the household should take a capsule. It doesn't, this is just saying that the nutrient pack doesn't stop you from, isn't a replacement for eating right. It does have food-based form things, but nothing replaces a whole food diet. If you get it all, you'll start to feel amazing. And I really want to talk about the Vitality Pack, because the Vitality Pack is just incredible. So the Alpha CRS is the part that gives you energy. So this is the part that's really good if people are feeling lacking in energy. And how many people feel like this now? There's so many people are kind of, well, actually, it's almost become normal. It certainly was for me, sort of walking around, feeling sluggish, feeling lethargic, just generally feeling like you're tired and you have no enthusiasm for life. Well, sometimes that's a biochemical reaction within your body. It's not just that you hate your job, it's the fact that you haven't got enough nutrients in your body. So when we can support your mitochondria, and your mitochondria, I think of them like your powerhouses in your cell. These are the things that give you energy. So if you can support your mitochondria, you're going to have more energy. If you're feeling fatigued, it's because your mitochondria are not functioning properly. So what do? We literally flood the mitochondria with things that give us energy, with things like CoQ10, which you've probably heard about, L-carnitine, quercetin, things that just give us this incredible sense of energy. And the other thing that I really like about the Alpha CRS is it's got a lot of herbs that me and Sonia just absolutely, we're always talking about, we love. So things like ginkgo biloba, I think it's got,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's got
ginkgo is
ashwagandha.
fabulous for your brain, for your memory, for circulation. It's amazing. Really, really great. You know,
And you've got,
yeah, go on, Vanessa. We'll start both gushing about this.
we'll get excited, because these are the herbs that we love, and we used to take them independently. Things like turmeric, which hopefully everyone knows now is the amazing super spice. Things like milk thistle, most people don't realize that's incredible for supporting
your liver.
Our liver, and the antioxidant glutathione. So which is the major glutathione is the major antioxidant within the body. And what else have we got?
There's also lots of anti-inflammatory effects. So basically, you've got a pine bark, which is kind of pycnogenol. And that's great if you've got, we suffer with all the tea and coffee and sugar that we're taking. We suffer from a lot of inflammation. So our diets tend to be acidic because we eat a lot of meat. So really, you need to keep that down. And anything that you can actually take to lower inflammation is going to really help, especially if you find yourself prone to allergies, especially around this time of year. Pine bark, which is pine bark extract that's in there, is also known as pycnogenol, is amazing for that. And then you've got the pineapple extract, which is bromelain, which will kind of help to break down any kind of residues of meat that you might have in your system that you're trying to digest. You've got the green tea, which we know is a fabulous antioxidant, and sesame seeds and grapeseed extract. You know, it's just a huge plateful of really good, nutritious micronutrients.
And herbs that you probably have never considered. I mean, unless you're a herbalist or you're a bit fanatical about studying nutrition, you probably haven't heard of these things, but they're in there and they're amazing. Anyway, we're gonna wrap this up because I'm sure we got some questions to go through, and we probably talked lots, but you can tell that we are so passionate about these because they work. So if you're not on them, please give them a go. You do have to order these on, actually, which brings me nicely on, you do have to order these on the loyalty reward program. You'd want to anyway, because if you order them on the loyalty reward program, you're going to get free oils. So let's just explain that very, very briefly for those that don't know, and then we'll come on to the questions. So the loyalty reward program it's an amazing incentive scheme that I think doTERRA do. The way I liken it, the best way I can describe it, because it can seem a little complicated at first, but once you get your head around it, it's easy. It's like a Boost Advantage card. So every time you spend money, you are going to earn points, like a Boost Advantage card that's going to sit in a bank on your system that you can spend on free oils. So if you're ordering something like the Lifelong Vitality Pack, which is 50 PV, so this is the point system that doTERRA uses. It's basically because we're on a global system and everyone has different currencies. So you order, the moment you spend 50 PV, you immediately qualify for points. And so the Lifelong Vitality Pack would immediately qualify you for points. Now, for the first 3 months that you ordered over 50 PV, you're going to get 10% off everything that you buy back in points, which soon mounts up in your bank. The next 3 months you get 15%, then 20, then 25, then 30. So after you've done 1 year of ordering over 50 PV, you're going to get 30% of everything that you buy. Now add that to your wholesale discount, you're basically going to get every oil at 55% discount, which when you're buying things like frankincense and sandalwood makes an incredible discount for you. And it's worth saying you don't have to do that every month. Now obviously if you buy the Lifelong Vitality Pack, you're probably going to want to do that every month anyway. But it is worth saying you're not tied in, so if you decide you want to stop at any time, you can. Although most of us choose not to because we love the product. But if you decide 1 month you might need to give yourself a break and you just wanted to order, say, one item, that's absolutely fine. You can do that. So you can order something like a lemon or a lavender oil, and it will hold your LRP open on the same discount, and then when you're ready you can do your 50 PV order again to qualify for those further discounts. So I hope that makes sense on the loyalty reward program, but do speak to whoever introduced you to the business, or to introduce you to the oils I should say. Do go back and speak to them and ask them for more help in setting up a loyalty reward program. So we've probably talked lots, so let's go through some of your questions. Okay, let's try and go to the top. We've got lots of highs. Let's hope everyone can hear. The recordings are being made available. I know they will be sent out and they will be available for 1 week. Okay, so I'm going to turn my light on, it's going dark. So I had somebody asked if they can point in the direction of someone who could advise me with regards to taking the long life vitality while having chemo. Now obviously the best thing to do is probably to go see a nutritional therapist near you. I would say go to, if you can, make sure you get to the Essential Wellness Summit that we're doing in the UK, because we actually have a lady who's going to be talking. I mean, we have to be very careful about what we say, but she has she had bowel cancer and she used the Long Life Vitality Pack and the oils, and she had some great results, and she's going to be talking about her experience. So it's really worth getting to the Essential Oil Summit in the UK. But in terms of taking it while having chemotherapy. We can't, obviously we have to be careful, we can't sort of discuss this in this environment, but do go and see a nutritional therapist and they will be able to talk to you about it. A blood test, for example, magnesium shows that you're not deficient. Why take a supplement? I would be very surprised if you were not magnesium deficient, to be honest, because most people are pretty standard. If you have had a blood test, brilliant, amazing, but I personally haven't. I think most people are, because stress depletes it, second, it's not in the soil, and we need it at such critical amounts, don't we? Wouldn't you agree?
Exactly.
Sonia?
And you also need to know what the benchmark is. What is the benchmark of your test? If it's an NHS test, a lot of the benchmarks are really, really low, so that therefore they don't need to give you supplements. So it just, you have to maybe just do some research and see what the benchmark for your age would be, or whatever you would need, and then recheck that test and see what you got, and see if it's, because they will tell you you're not deficient, but it depends what benchmark they're using.
Okay, so is there a UK or European Facebook group? Yes, there are plenty of groups. There's the Essential Gifts of